Hey you all, welcome back to Pearls of Eden. And listen, I got a good video from you all. Candace Owens dropped some heat yesterday, some truth bombs. And you know I love my girl Candace O. So I want to share her video because we need to get this out there. People need to understand who she really is, you all. And I don't do this to just be like, you know, trying to slander Kamala Harris and, you know, bring all the dirt on her. No. It's just, if you say that you are something, then by golly, let it be the truth, right? We are not standing on lies in 2024, but like Cat Williams said, that baby, it's 2024 and all lies will be exposed. So, you know, with Kamala and Tim Wallace, there's a lot of stolen valor, there's a lot of stolen identity, you know, but they learned it good from Barry, honey. Barry Sotero sold us a dream. He sold us the vision of hope and change, and he was homegrown in a lab and selected for you to be the president of change. But the only change he brought was Sodom and Gomorrah, right? But I digress. We're going to get into Candace Owens' latest episode. You all, you're in for a treat because we're going to see, is Kamala who she says she is? She's running off of this, I'm a black woman. I'm going to be the first black woman to run for president. You all, but she's not black. And several people have brought the receipts. Several people have shown her birth certificate where her parents are what? Both listed as white. You know, I think it's really important that people understand Jamaican is not a race. That's her nationality, right? Jamaican is a nationality. It is not a race. Just like American is my nationality, but I'm a black American, okay? So you can have all types of races under a nationality. And I think people just get really silly about that. And they think all Jamaicans have to be black. But her parents, her lineage comes from an Irish descent, okay? You need to understand that. That's why the whole hoopla about her family owning slaves, y'all. That was what all that drama was about. But Kamala is selling you a dream, and it's just not true. But we'll talk about it. Let's get into Candace Owens' episode. Take a listen.
Well, I am not quite sure what to say here, other than I humbly submit myself for your consideration to receive a Pulitzer Prize, maybe Time Person of the Year, a Golden Globe, a Grammy, something. I deserve something for my staunch commitment to the defense of Janet Jackson, because guess what has happened? And by the way, this is not even unbelievable. It's actually the most believable thing in the world. A Jamaican woman has stepped forward who I can verify to you knew Kamala's Grandma Beryl. And she remembers her affectionately, by the way. Apparently, Grandma Beryl was a wonderful woman. She adored Kamala's Grandma Beryl. It was just one minor detail that was off. You see, the Beryl that she knew, the one that Kamala presented in her book, was not her, because the Beryl she knew was white. Yeah, let's get started. Welcome back to Candace.
Y'all, okay, and listen, I understand that we all, you know, African Americans, black people, we come in all kinds of shades and colors, right? We could be very fair with blue eyes and dark hair and still fall under the umbrella of African American black. I totally get that. But considering Kamala's background, okay, and all of the information that is coming forth, I mean, you know, they love to use this new phrase, birtherism. You hear Kamala say it all the time. You know, Trump, he used birtherism against Obama because, you know, Trump came out the gate with the truth, dropping truth bombs that many of us just weren't ready to hear when he said that Barack Hussein Obama, better known as Barry Sotero, was not born in the good old United States of America. But that he was actually born in Kenya. His brother says that he was not born in America. He was raised in Hawaii and in Indonesia. But I'm going to show you all a pamphlet, a book that never was released. but it was about Barack Obama. He wrote this. It was his company, advertisement company or something, that wrote an ad about each of the people that worked under their company. And I want you all to take a look at what it says. It tells you exactly where Barry Soetoro is from. Again, I keep telling you all, it's 2024. There's no reason to be in the dark when you can walk in the light. It's 2024 where it has to happen. All lies must be exposed. Why? Because I keep telling you all, we are in the era of truth and righteousness. Y'all want to know something else? I put that video up about the Al Smith dinner. And when I looked at the timing, do you know how long that video was? And this is going to blow your mind for some of you all who know I put that 555 short out yesterday, because every time I put in Donald Trump hashtags, it equals 555. Knowing that's the number of grace. November 5th is the election day, 5785. This is the year of grace that we're entering into. And so when I looked at that video I titled it, Jim and Trump slam Kamala, and it was 54 minutes and 15 seconds. 5 and the 4 and 1 in between equal 5. 5, 5, 5. Come on, y'all. The Lord is speaking. You cannot plan or make these things up. It is just what it is. And you just have to have ears to hear. So, y'all, don't be so naive. These people are very deceptive. Kamala has lied about so many things. And this is why all of this is in question, because she just totally tells so many lies. She plagiarized half of her book, okay? Straight up from Wikipedia. Where's fake news talking about that? No, they want to sweep it under the carpet. She says she worked at McDonald's, but they checked that out and they said, nope, she ain't never worked here. She never addresses it. She just keeps on moving with her lies, right? Now we're talking about Grandma Barrel, because she presented this black woman as being her grandmother, and then come to find out, people said that ain't her. What else are you lying about? Okay? And if you're lying about all these little things, why should I trust you to honor your word? I can't. I won't. I will not. And you should not either. Let's keep watching.
All right, so all of this was really just common sense. I know it's not that common anymore, but it really was common sense from the beginning. And I want people to know, let the record show, let the history books show, that all I did was conduct basic Black people science. I looked at this photo here, the photo that Kamala put in her book of her and Grandma Barrel, and I said, no. Scientific consensus rejects this theory for a ton of reasons. One of them being, I just didn't feel like this woman was her grandma. I have a Caribbean grandma. They're all up in your face. I don't feel the affection in this photo. I'm not thinking this is a very dark woman. I'm not thinking this is the mother of Donald Harris at all.
Listen, y'all. That woman in the picture that she's portraying to be Grandma Barrel has a better chance of being Candace Owens' grandmother than Kamala's. There's no similarity. And I know genes work all kinds of ways. I get it, you all. But when you're dealing with someone who is not told the truth and lives in fairy tale land and doesn't blink an eye to drop a lie, you question everything. And you know, we live in 2024 where we got some super detectives, baby. They get up here in these YouTube streets. They get out here. They put you on notice. They can find any and everything they want to find out. Okay? We are living in a different time and season, you all. And so She picked the wrong time to run for office, because they are pulling all of the dirt. And we'll keep watching, because apparently Grandma Barrel is not the woman that was displayed in her plagiarized book. What else? What else will come out the woodwork? What else are we lying about? Side note, has anybody seen Tim Walz? Because there's also some serious allegations about him, and he's been really quiet on the campaign trail for over a month. Very, very strange.
Like, I know genetics can be funky, but I was going, this woman does not look like she owned and operated a store. There were so many things that were throwing me off. Even the whole story of the grandparents owning all of these stores. I'm going, what are you talking about? 1914 to 1938 in Jamaica, but we were just getting out of slave chains. And you're telling me like your family just became like so dominant and we're running these dry goods stores and this grandma had that. Something was off, okay? And what was off was just the photos they were presenting. These people were too black. And then once we started looking into it, the fact that her campaign just shut off the tap on speaking about her blackness. They just wanted to move on as if she had never said it. It was the entire brand. Remember, that's the pitch. She's going to be the first black female president of the United States. The media was trying to sell that, to force feed that to us. And I said, Black scientific theory says, no, this ain't your grandma. But I was receiving a ton of emails from people that were insisting that Beryl was Kamala's grandmother. Among the emails were a flurry of people suggesting that I speak to a woman known as Lady Colin Campbell. She also goes as Lady C. I'm familiar with her work. I've seen her. She's written in the Daily Mail before, or has been written about in the Daily Mail. She's a British Jamaican author and a socialite who grew up in Jamaica. And she is deep on genealogy. She's written several books regarding the British royals. This woman likes history. She likes facts. And someone had sent me a clip of her from her YouTube channel during which she was fielding questions and people were asking her to look into my research into Kamala Harris. And she said, rather offhandedly, that she had asked around and that she had a friend that was on the island who had confirmed to her that Beryl was, in fact, Kamala's grandmother, seemingly putting to rest all of my theories. But I remained completely undeterred, and I just ignored it. Lady C said that she was hoping to host that friend on her podcast in the future, and that the woman would spill all of the tea on how she knew Kamala's grandmother, Beryl. So I just waited. I waited for the future to arrive, and guess what? The future has arrived. And as promised, Lady C hosted Dorothy, that's the woman's name, Dorothy, the woman who knew Grandma Beryl. And I will tell you, the conversation did not go as Lady C expected.
Now, if this isn't the days of our lives, then I just don't know what is, you all. Remember that word I gave in the summer that the Lord said it was going to be like Telemunda times 10. It was going to be like soap opera, that you couldn't imagine that this election season was going to be. And boy, did he deliver on his word, you all. Wow. Grandma Beryl, let's hear about her.
Let's watch the first part of their conversation. This is Dorothy, again, the Jamaican woman who grew up and knew Grandma Beryl, Miss Beryl, personally. Take a listen.
Greetings from Castle Goring, from Mickey, Aurora, and from me. We have a special guest with us today, Dorothy Otti, who is an old friend of mine. She's Jamaican. And she used to know Miss Beryl very well. They grew up in the same village.
Well, I grew up in the village where Miss Beryl lived. She was a lot older than me, of course.
Well, obviously,
and Miss Beryl is the grandmother of Vice President Kamala Harris.
Yes.
And she was just the most delightful lady. I have such fond memories of her. Excuse me. So there's a sweet that you have in Jamaica as a child, or grown-ups eat the sweet that's made from coconuts and caramelized sugar, and it's called a buster. Have you ever had?
Darling, in my day it was called Bustamante Backbone.
Okay, so it was called a buster. And Miss Beryl had a shop. And in the mornings, my Uncle Cecil would take me by the hand. We'd go up the road for a walk. And on the way, everyone that goes past, it would be, "Good morning, Mas Cecil. And how are you, Miss Dar?" And by the time we got to Miss Beryl's shop, she would either offer me a Buster or this other delicious sweet called a Paradise Plum.
Yes, I remember Paradise.
Yeah,
Plums.
but Miss Beryl, she was just so lovely. We would have these conversations as a little girl whenever I went past with Uncle Cecil, and it was always, how are you doing with your books? Are you reading? Are you learning your times table? Of course, she was a businesswoman. So she was very good at things like mathematics, of course. And she was, looking back now, you could see she was a trailblazer. Because the shop that she had, she actually built it herself. So we lived in a village, and her shop was the only, what you would call an upstairs, downstairs house. All the other houses were like bungalows on one level with gardens and stuff. I remember in our garden, we had gladiolas.
Okay, a couple of things flagged to me as interesting there. So she was really good at mathematics. Okay, so we're talking about a Black person. Again, this would not have been more than a couple of decades removed from slavery. And she was really good at mathematics, extremely well read, owned and operated a shop, and had the biggest house. I mean, what are we talking about? This doesn't feel like the correct kind of a Black story that I'm used to. A couple of generations ago, you go back, most Black people have my grandparents' sharecropping farm. I mean, maybe, who knows? I'm like, okay. Very clearly, though, we know she's telling the truth right away, because this is a good fact check against what Donald Harris wrote when he wrote a story about their Jamaican heritage for Jamaican Online Global. And he talked about those bustas. He talked about him and his sister Enid and how they loved the bustas. I think he said it was around Easter time. So everything she's saying sounds correct. But it was this part, this next part, that instantly let me know that this woman was the real deal, because she presents a detail, something that I know to be a fact that I had not ever presented to the public. Remember when I told you that I got on the phone with a family member of Kamala Harris? And that family member told me that Donald Harris had two siblings, Enid Harris, who I have spoken to you guys about, and another sibling who I had never mentioned. It was Beryl's son, and his name was Kenneth. And this woman starts speaking about the Kenneth that I had never mentioned, who would be Donald Harris's brother. Take a listen.
Woo-wee, Kamala underestimated the internet, you all, and the times and the seasons that we are living in. And if she thought that she could get away with all of these lies, I guess why wouldn't she think she could? I mean, Barack Obama did, and so many others. And it's just a different time and season. You got to know the times and seasons you're living in, because the gig is up and everything is being exposed. Every lie, every secret, every skeleton. October surprise, here we are. And here's the sad thing, you all. The biggest October surprise hasn't even hit yet. Keep watching.
Was it a village or was it a hamlet? How many people would have been in it? How many houses? How many residents?
So at one time, everyone that lived there, was a village. There was probably about 80 or 90 people. But at one time, everyone that lived there was a relative of mine.
Really?
Yes.
What about Miss Beryl?
So this would have been before people such as Miss Beryl moved there. But before that, everyone who lived there, and even as a child growing up, most of the residents were connected in some way on my mother's father's side, my grandfather's side, where they were all related. But Miss Beryl, my darling, also had a son. He was called Kenneth, and Kenneth had a motorbike, the equivalent of what we would now call a Harley Davidson. And of course, so at the time I would have been no more than 4 or 5. I'm not interested in what make your bike is. And he would put me on the front of the bike, whenever I came past with Uncle Cecil. And I would sit there and he would switch the engine on. And of course, looking back now, I realize The bike never moved, but she just held on to me, and I thought I was riding a bike, and I grew up absolutely loving motorbikes. He was very handsome.
Oh, Beryl must have had some money. Her son has the equivalent of a Harley Davidson. He was very handsome. He's got riding around on his motorbike. What are we talking about here? Like I said, this is when I knew that this woman was dialed in, because I had never spoken about Kenneth publicly, not for any particular reason. I just literally hadn't gotten around to it as I've been collecting all of this evidence to present to the public on Kamala's family and looking into Enid and looking into Kenneth. So very interesting. Again, sounds like this Beryl had a lot of money. It's just not giving the person that is pictured in Kamala's book. Now, of course, naturally, Kamala Harris then comes up in this conversation. And Dorothy keeps this same positive energy. She's very positive, right? She has a spirit about her. She has this fond memory. Delightful. She's delightful in her approach about Beryl. And she's delightful in her approach about Kamala and Kamala's features. She really likes Kamala's facial features. I'll tell you why. Take a listen.
And Miss Beryl, by the way, I see Vice President Harris on the box. And I sit up straight and I think, my God, she looks so much like Miss Beryl. Her facial features, the only thing is Miss Beryl was much smaller in stature, but
well, okay, if Miss Beryl, because Kamala is very fair-skinned.
Right.
Was Beryl fair-skinned?
Yes, she was.
She was?
She was. She was fair-skinned.
She was? Okay.
Yes, she was very fair-skinned.
Oh.
With black hair.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So she was so fair-skinned that now that I'm older and I can spot people by their skin coloring, etc. For me, I would say there was something Irish there.
How interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say somewhere along the line she would have had ancestors that were Irish. Yes.
Actually, can I show you a photograph?
Of course.
Of an old lady.
Yes.
And some people speculate that this is Miss Beryl.
Right.
So, sorry, bear
That's
with me.
okay.
I am so untechnological.
Okay.
It's just pathetic.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. Nah, that's not Miss Beryl.
That's not Miss Beryl.
That's definitely not Miss Beryl.
Okay.
That's not Miss Beryl.
So,
and
let me just show you.
Yeah.
So,
that is not Miss Beryl.
That's not Miss Beryl.
Definitely not Miss Beryl.
Okay.
And I know what she looks like. I couldn't have been in a dream, and she definitely did not look like that.
There's another person, but could that be Miss Beryl?
No, that's not Miss Beryl. That's not Miss Beryl either.
Okay.
Don't know who that is.
Okay.
That's not Miss Beryl. That ain't Miss Beryl. You know, as you were describing the fair skin and looking like Kamala, I was thinking this can't be the Miss Beryl grandma that's in Kamala's book. And clearly you see Lady C's going, wait, fair skin? What? Maybe is this? Nope, that's not Miss Beryl. I didn't dream. That's not Miss Beryl. Yeah, that sounds about right. You're saying Irish. And that's funny because Judge Joe Brown had a very distinct memory that Donald Harris told him that he was Irish and Hindu. And things are starting to add up, not in Kamala Harris's favor. And I don't know what to say here, ladies and gentlemen, other than I am truly, untypically speechless. I don't think I possess within me the adequate vocabulary to discuss my distaste for a woman who borrowed a black person for her autobiography so that she could secure the black vote. Do you understand how fundamentally racist that is? Do you understand how despicable that is? I mean, you have to be the worst kind of political vermin to borrow a black person to put in your book to present to the public as your grandma, who definitively was not your white Irish grandma. Okay, I don't have the word. I need someone to throw me a thesaurus so I can find it. I need to expand my vocabulary to be able to legitimately express my disgust for Kamala Harris and my now general disgust for any person who supports this woman or from here on out purports that she is the first Black anything, okay? She is beyond despicable. This woman has no soul. You have to have no soul to do that. And if my instincts are correct, the person that she is showing is indeed someone she knows and is likely, like I said from the very beginning, the help. The help who would have taken on the name of the people who they worked for. It's very common. This is why you talk about having slave names. You take on the last name, the first name. When we saw that woman who was listed looking for a housekeeper position that said Beryl or Christie, it is my suspicion that this was the help, meaning this was likely the woman that was working for the wealthy Miss Beryl who was buying her children Harley Davidsons. I mean, it's just, this is unbelievable. This should end her chances at the White House. If we have any sort of moral sensibility in this country, you would never allow a person like this to assume office, because if she is willing to lie like this, if she is willing to, this is essentially the worst kind of blackface. Okay, this is what you are seeing now. Kamala Harris is, in fact, a minstrel show. She said, I'm running for president. Okay, what am I going to do? I'm just going to blackify myself. Fake aunties, fake uncle photos. Oh, I actually just called them. What is she going to say to this? Is she going to come out now and say, oh, when I said Grandma Beryl, I meant like that's just what we called her affectionately, Grandma Beryl, as she was doing our laundry and picking up after us. We called her, what is she going to say that is possibly going to be accepted? And will the press do their job now? Stop pretending this is a conspiracy and recognize that this woman put on blackface because she wants to win the election. Megan Thee Stallion, I'm calling you, every person who twerked, danced, applauded, said to the public, this is a Black woman, it is now incumbent upon you to take a step back, examine what we have revealed, and to take it back. Take everything you said back about this woman. Apologize for platforming her, for believing this. It's fine. I'll accept the apology, but keep the exact same energy. Oh, she's Black? Okay. Now that you know that she's not, you should be angry, and you should present these facts to the public and to your followers and to your fan base. Like I said, I am shocked. I'm not shocked, but I am shocked. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am not surprised. It was inevitable. I was never going to let go. Like, I pretty much knew that I was on the right track. Her silence about the matter was deafening. The removal of everything seemed very suspicious. No longer speaking about her Blackness seemed very suspicious. Now she's too highbrow. I'm not even going to address. You know why you're not going to address it? Because you're not Black. You are not Black. You never have been Black a day in your life. You truly disgust me. I want you to know that you are filth. Kamala Harris is filth.
Y'all, Candace Owens came to the show ready to deliver, okay? She played no games with Kamala Harris, and I suggest you don't either. It's really important that you understand the deception that is being played. Ordinarily, I would not share these types of things, but at this level of deception, it is important you know who are the candidates. What are the facts? And she continues to lie to the American people. Now, at this point, if you still give your vote to her, you deserve every bit, everything that you get coming to you, because she has shown her true colors time and again and again. And so I just want to say shout out to Candace Owens, who is a real warrior out here in these streets, who risks her life every day just to deliver the truth. She catches a lot of heat. There's a lot of people that hate her, that say, you know, oh, she's just always trying to come against the Black race and she is just a sellout. And no, she's actually trying to awaken you to the truth so that you're not deceived. She's actually your friend, but what you call your enemy, you call a friend. And what you call a friend is your enemy. Make it make sense, y'all.
Lady C was similarly shocked, gobsmacked, as she put it. Take a listen.
and gobsmacked. Absolutely gobsmacked. And it then begs the question, did she seriously think she was going to be able to get away with this?
She did.
I mean, I know Candace Owens has been going hell for leather on this, and Candace Owens is clearly black. So this is not about anti-blackness, because, as you could see, Dorothy is not white. So, I mean, I'm just stunned that any ambitious politician would present as a grandparent of hers, and she's Kamala Harris is very fair-skinned. Whether she calls herself black or brown, she's still fair-skinned. And but she definitely has black blood. So to that extent, it's not anything artificial. What does seem to be extraordinary is the creation of a black grandmother when her grandmother was of color but wasn't black. And she just, did she get somebody off the street and pop them in the photograph? Was it a helper? Who was this woman? I mean, it boggles the imagination.
Don't you worry. Leave it with me, Lady C. From one Lady C to another, I'm going to get to the bottom of who that woman is in the picture, and I'm going to get to the bottom of who the Irish barrel actually is, because here's what happens now. Blood is in the water, my friends, okay? If you watch the full interview, you should cut over to Lady C's YouTube channel and watch the entire thing. That woman gave a ton of accidental clues about the Irish barrel that we are now looking for. She excelled at mathematics. She built a home. She resembles Kamala Harris. She had black hair. She owned a store which specialized in making bustas. Now we can refocus our attention and look for the true barrel, the white-looking barrel. And we are going to be able to find that person. I sense it. Now, like I said, there is way too much information out there, and we need to put tremendous amounts of pressure for Kamala Harris to respond, because like I said, you have to be borderline psychopathic to do what she did. Do you understand? Like, just take a pause here and recognize how demented you have to be, okay, to approve the printing of a book with a photo, featuring a photo of who you purport is your grandma barrel. You standing next to a woman who was likely cleaning your dirty underwear, okay? Likely. That's what I think. I feel it in my soul that that's who these women were that were pictured in here. This woman doesn't recognize Iris. Grandma Iris was the second photo she showed. We zoomed in on it. She doesn't recognize anyone. Dorothy's going, I don't know who these people are, okay? You have to be utterly demented, hell-bent on power. You will stop at nothing to achieve power if you have no shame. If you have no shame, knowing that you come from a long line of slave owners, that you would then appropriate the identity of a real black woman so that you can what? Re-enslave black people in America today. That's exactly why she's doing it. She is disturbed, okay? Like I said, this is now a beginning. We get to refocus our attentions. I have a ton of suspicions. I truly believe that I was on the right track when I examined the same thing for Christiana Brown. I believe they're lying about who Christiana Brown is. And I'm going to find both of these women. What do we have? 18, 19 days until the election. I'm not letting go, guys. I am just, email me if you find any information, info@CandaceOwens.com. You know where we will be. This woman is not going to get away with this. I'm disgusted.
Well, y'all, that's all that I have for you all today. I hope that you enjoy your wonderful weekend. Enjoy your family. Take some rest. Take some time just to relax, you all, because there's so much going on. And I just want you to understand how important it is that you make a sound decision. That's why I'm doing my part in these YouTube streets to share with you all that I understand and I know, you know, so that you can make a well-informed decision, because there will be no excuses. You can't say you didn't know up in here, honey, because I've been sounding the alarm for a long time, right? All right, guys, I love you to life, and have a wonderful weekend. Walk in the light.